Good morning, students. Good afternoon, students. Okay, for today, we have a topic that is called the quarterback rating. Okay, this is something that is similar to the weighted average, and we're going to analyze how the NFL players get their scores in the case of the passers or quarterbacks. Okay, so there are some statistics that we can get from these players. All right, so let's start with one problem. Juan Reyes completed 20 passes in 50 attempts. Find his percent of completions per attempt. Okay, so to find the percent of completions per attempt, we need to divide the completions, in this case is 20, by the attempts. Okay? The completions of passes divided by the attempt and multiply times 100. Okay, so the completions, if Juan completed 20 passes, is 20 times 100, and then we need to divide by 50 because there were 50 attempts. Okay, when you multiply that, you get 40%. Okay, so Juan have a percent of completions of 40%. All right, now another example, and this is for the percent of or the average for yards. Okay, the yards that is competing per attempt a player. Louis Johnson completed 559 yards in 72 attempts. What is his average? All right, as I told you before, you need to divide the yards by the attempts. Okay, you don't need to multiply times 100 because you're gonna get just yards per attempt. So in this case, it is 559 divided by the attempt, 72, and this is 7.76 yards per attempt. Okay, so that means that per attempt, this player is completing 7.76 yards. All right, another, the percentage of touchdown. Okay, the percentage of touchdown. We get this when we divide the touchdowns by the attempts, and we multiply times 100 also. Okay, right. Carlos Perez completed 5 touchdown passes in 55 attempts. Calculate the percent of touchdowns. Okay, so if we go back, we have 5 touchdowns and 55 attempts times 100. This is 9.09%. All right. Now the percentage of interceptions. The percentage of interceptions equals the interceptions divided by the attempt times 100. Okay, I have a problem here. Gilbert King got 6 interceptions in 60 attempts. Determine the percentage. Okay, so we have 6 interceptions in 60 attempts times 100 equals 10%. Okay, so we can have these statistics according to the attempts. As you can see, always we are divided by the attempts. Okay, we have the completed passes, we have the yards, we have the touchdown, and the interceptions. Okay, now in the next problem is a little bit longer. We are going to get the quarterback rating. The quarterback rating tells you how good a quarterback is. Okay, so a low score means that the quarterback is not getting a good performance, but the score cannot be more than 153.8. So this is the maximum. You can check this information at NFL.com, okay, or National Football League. All right, so I have a problem. Find Tony Romo's quarterback rating using the following statistics: attempts 62, passes 45, yards 632, touchdowns 4, interceptions 2. All right, let's find this. I want to let you know, as you saw in the video from YouTube that I shared this class, the equation is very long. So to do this, we're going to split the problem into 5 equations. The main equations: the equation for the completed passes, the equation for the yards, the equation for the touchdowns, and the equation for the interceptions. Okay, so let's start with this problem. You're gonna have another like this in the guided instruction and another in the DOL. Okay, so this is as you can see, this is pretty easy. The other problem is easy, but it's a lot of work, but it's easy at the end. Okay, I will erase this. Okay, the first thing that you need to keep in mind is the equation. Oh, we need the data for this Tony Romo. Okay, so the attempts are 62. The completed passes, 45. The yards, 632. The touchdowns, 4. And the interceptions, 2. Okay? So this is the information that we have from this player. Okay? Now, what is the formula? Okay, the formula, if you simplify, the main formula is very easy. The quarterback rating equals, you divide by 6 the addition of C plus Y plus T plus I. And whatever you get, you multiply times 100. All right, C stands for completed passes. Y stands for yards. T for the touchdowns, and I for the intersections. Okay, so all right, so when you add all of them, you divide by 6 and then you multiply times 100. But how do you get these values, C, Y, T, and I? All right, let me write the equations for you. For C, we have the completed passes divided by the attempts minus 0.3, and whatever you get, you multiply times 5. This is the formula for that. Okay? Now, the formula for Y, or the yards, equals yards divided by the attempts minus 3 times 0.25. This is for the yards. For the touchdowns, you divide the touchdowns by the attempts and you multiply this times 20. Okay? Now for the intersection, is 2.375 minus parentheses the intersections divided by the attempts times 25. Okay, and that's it. Okay, so we need to use this information: the completed passes, the yards, the attempts, the touchdown, and the intersections. Okay, so let's start working with the first one, the completed passes. For the completed passes, we have 45, the attempts 62, minus 0.3 times 5. Okay? For that, we have 2.129. Okay, 2.129. This is the first solution that I have. Now for the yards. For the yards, I have 632 yards, 62 attempts, and minus 3 times 0.25. This is 1.7983. Okay, for the touchdowns, we have 4 touchdowns. For the attempts are 62, and then you multiply times 20 to get 1.2903. Okay. Now the interceptions. The interceptions, 2.375 minus interceptions divided by attempts times 25. Okay. This is 2.375 minus interceptions. We have 2. Attempts, we have 62 times 25. And for that, we're gonna have 1.5686. Okay? So what do you do with these 1, 2, 3, 4 values? Okay, those values go, you can fill in this equation. Okay? Let's do it. Okay, so the quarterback equals C, 2.129 plus Y, 1.7983 plus E, 1.2903 plus I, 1.5686. Everything divided by 6, and whatever you have, you multiply times 100, times 100, times 100. Okay? So when you get this, you get a value of 113.103. So this is the quarterback rating for this player. Okay? So once again, just follow. This is how you get the quarterback rating with this formula. But as you can see, in order to get these values, you need to go first to get the completed passes, the yards, the touchdown, and the interceptions. Okay? Please copy.